Hi everybody, I'm Dean Packard, the Director of Central Mass Swarm Boys AAU Basketball. Alongside of me here is Mike Byrnes, my co-director. We're here today to talk a little bit about our program. I just wanted to give a little bit of history and just an opportunity for us to kind of market what we do and why we do it. The Central Mass Swarm came into effect about 10 years ago with 1 or 2 teams, and we've grown exponentially over the years to now to about 100 boys, a little over 100 boys and 9 teams. One of the things we like most about our program is the fact that we have an opportunity for local kids to play at a high level. They get a chance to move around the state as well as go a little regional, sometimes down in the Mid-Atlantic, and a few teams go off to the Nationals. But you know, that's all part of the journey. The most important part about tonight is just an opportunity to speak about our program a little bit, to give you a little background, and to let you know what we're all about. So, Mike, what are your thoughts? You've been with us now for a few years, and give me your perspective on the program.
So like Dean said, we have a little bit over 100 kids in the program. We start at 4th grade all the way up to 11th. We have different levels of teams from, regular select teams to elite teams, all the way up. We start at 4th grade, where you have one team at 4th grade level, a 5th/6th grade team this spring, a 7th, 2 8th grade teams, a 9th, and then a 10th and an 11th grade team. Which comes up to 9 teams. Our elite teams go all over the place, from super regionals to states, the Gym Rat Challenge in New York to nationals. If they qualify, and it's right to go. We have other teams who stay local. Some kids who play multiple sports like baseball or soccer and whatnot. Kids who just want to work on their game. So we do have a place for everybody, and it's really expanded over the last couple of years. Like you said, it started off with 1 to 2 teams, and now we're up to 9, and we could probably really expand more if we really wanted to. But like here, we always talk about quality over quantity. We want our kids to be able to perform out there. We want the right kids, not just the best kids, and that's what I feel we have.
Yeah. I like you mentioned quality over quantity. And one of the reasons why we don't try to expand any bigger than what we are right now is we do want to provide the best opportunity for player growth. I mean, I look around here, in this age, there's an AAU program around every corner. So parents do have a choice, kids have a choice, and you try to stop and think for a second what separates Central Mass Swarm from some of the other AAU clubs. And I just kind of think it comes down to coaching, it comes down to practice time, it comes down to the biggest return for investment for your money and things of that nature. And I think I'm pretty proud of the fact that we have the people we have in place right now that are working with kids and helping kids really enjoy the game of basketball. And I reflect back as a player and as a coach and a high school coach for 12 years, the opportunity that basketball has given to me, and now into my principalship and from teaching and all the things that I've done. And basketball is just a small microcosm of life. And kids have to deal with the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and the immediacy of change. And over time, that helps kids grow. And I know you've seen it a lot in the levels that you've coached, and and I think you can attest to the fact that even the kids under you and under myself and our other coaches have really grown over time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, we've taken kids out to Maryland. Like, I had a team 2 years ago. They were in 6th grade. We washed out all over New England, just beat everybody. Everybody, they all thought they were the best there was. We go out to Maryland. We're playing 6th graders who are dunking, with ease, 2-hand slam, white kids from Pittsburgh putting it down, and then kind of shows you, like, what's out there. It makes you work harder. It stretches you, because a kid, say, from Dudley, who's the best kid, in his town or in his school or in his area, thinks he doesn't have to work as hard, maybe, because there's nobody around here who can compete with him. You go out to Maryland and you get whacked by 80 and you just completely dominate, and it really stretches you, and it kind of shows you where you are, and, it makes you work harder. And, a big part of the game for me is kind of, lessons outside of basketball. It teaches you everything. I mean, a kid who's a starter on his middle school team, maybe the last kid off the bench on his AAU team, so, it teaches you just to work harder. I mean, a kid who's just going to quit because he doesn't get playing time, it reflects back to life. I mean, same thing in your job, tough day, you're just going to quit because it's not going the way you are, or somebody's coaching too hard or whatnot. So I just feel like it teaches you, everything that takes you through life.
Yeah, you make a good point with that. As parents decide on which AAU team to be part of, one of the things that you have to realize is AAU is not travel league basketball. It's not middle school basketball. It's a whole different level of opportunity for skill development. And as a result of that, I think kids are put in situations where they really are stretched. And my message to parents is, as much as you want your child to come in to be an impact player right away, you have to sustain the time and put the effort into it and work towards growth of your overall skills to be able to be on the floor all the time. And it does come, and sometimes it takes a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, but at the end of the day, you're at that next level. And, you could be a star on your middle school team, but coming to an AAU team, you talk about elite teams, you talk about the next level teams, you got to learn your role. And that's a small microcosm of life in itself. So, and I think that's one thing that our program really does for kids. I mean, if you have the skill level to be at a pseudo elite, we try to do that for you. I mean, we're not BABC, we're not these premier clubs at this point in time, but we want to teach kids to fight, and we want to teach kids to work really hard. You put them in those types of forums, and it actually stretches them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like Dean said, we're not BABC, we're not expressions, we're not players, but ultimately we want to be on the floor with those teams. We want to compete with those teams, battle with those teams. Obviously, like the BABCs of the world have all this talent. They can really grab whoever they want, wherever they want. They have sponsorships. They can bring kids in, for free. Obviously, we're kind of a mom and pop program. We don't really have the opportunity to do that. But ultimately, if we can compete with those teams, it's going to be, these kids are going to be so much better off. I mean, the high schools around this area, they compete in Swickle or Midwatch and everything like that. So if we can compete them at the highest level here in AAU, they're just going to roll through their high school seasons. They'll be real successful.
You make a good point at that. Looking at our schedule, we do have teams that are playing in the state tournament. We have teams that are playing in super regionals. We'll go to the gym rat. We have teams that may qualify for nationals, whether it be Division II, Division III, or Division I. I just think there's a lot of opportunity for kids out there, and we're very fortunate to have some very good coaches that understand kids, that understand player development, and that are willing to give up their time to make sure that these kids have an opportunity to be stretched. So, from a director's standpoint, I think that's very, very important. It's going to be an exciting season. We're looking forward to it. I'd ask you parents if you have any questions in regards to what we do or why we do it. The general protocol is this. I mean, I've been coaching long enough to tell you, if for any reason you're upset with something, give it 24 hours before you reach out and contact your coach. One of the biggest things that kids have a hard time with, and parents sometimes have a hard time with, is playing time. And I just want to touch upon that because I think it's important for this. Within our teams, you're going to have games where you'll play a lot, sometimes you'll play a little, sometimes you play a little less, but we always try to make sure kids get on the floor. But the one thing that we want you to understand, that's the constant, is you have to work every day to show your coach that you belong on the floor and that you deserve to be there. We play to win first, but we also help you understand what it takes to make it to that level. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and kids also have to look at it, say they're not playing a lot, why aren't I playing a lot, and we have conversations all the time with kids, like, you tell me all the time, somebody always asks me why I'm not playing a lot or how to play more, and you tell them, and it makes them better. If the kid's just sitting on a team and it's all, equal playing time, he's never going to look twice about, oh, I need to do this better, I need to do that better. Ultimately, it's about player development and getting better, because even, say, in the 7th grade, you could be the best player on your AAU team or middle school team, and if you don't work that hard, it's not going to take you anywhere when you get to high school.
Yeah. But all in all, with 100 and so kids, it's we're very excited. The season's going to present to us a lot of opportunity for growth. It's going to present some challenges. We're going to have a lot of highlights. We're going to have some lows. But more importantly, I think at the end, you've got to look at it, what the journey is going to bring to your son. And I do think it's going to allow him to be stretched. It's going to allow him to be part of a group that I think is a pretty classy organization. We have a great reputation all throughout Massachusetts. A reputation of playing hard, playing fair, and just working at the common skills of basketball, which I think are very important. So, and that's a tribute to what we do every day. So, what I'd like to do is try to do a weekly podcast. Mike and I will bring it to you. We'll have coaches come on and talk about their team. And I think it's great for kids to hear a little bit of feedback from coaches in that capacity. Agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you touched on earlier, I think we have, really the best coaches around. I mean, it's a game, and it's AAU is a different world of basketball. You have to bring in, the right people, and the people that want to spend the weekend in the gym for 15 hours on the weekend, or in the gym for 4 hours a week and whatnot with their busy work schedules and stuff like that, because overall, the coaching is going to be what's going to take those players to where they want to be.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, I appreciate your time today, and look forward to next weekend. And folks, again, I just want to say thank you for listening to the podcast. We will bring you up-to-date information. Just a very quick note, we just finished our first tournament this past weekend. Central Mass Swarm 22-13, I think it was. I checked my email last night. That went out about midnight, and you know, we had a team that went 4-0. We had several teams that went 3-1. A couple teams that are still finding an identity, but that's okay. That's part of the process. But we walk away from a weekend down at Mass Premier thinking that you know, we're on the right track, and we'll prepare ourselves, whether it be for the Super Regionals next week for your team, or for the Gold Rush and Zero Gravity coming up, and just taking it 1 week at a time and looking at our players and continuing to hope for growth.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. Have a great week.